office before President Bio at State House. Amasuri has more details.
I, Hinduwa Wakai Indi, do hereby in the name of God, solemnly affirm that I will faithfully and truly discharge the duties of the Office of Deputy Minister of the Republic of Sierra Leone, and that I will support, uphold, and maintain the Constitution of Sierra Leone, as by law established. So help me God.
The three deputy ministers were appointed by the president a few weeks ago. Congratulating the ministers on their appointment, President Julius Maada reminded them about his key development agenda. He said they were chosen meticulously to work in different ministries and to face challenges ahead of them.
You all know development is an uphill task, and therefore we need the best of Sierra Leoneans to help us undertake this project. We are a developing nation and we have quite a lot of challenges, and for us who are in these offices, it is our responsibility to make sure that we can tackle these challenges with the best of our abilities, working together to make sure that Sierra Leone is a better place tomorrow. So as you take up these offices, I want to challenge you to the task. Do not limit yourself. Work as hard as possible. To catch up, we need to go the extra mile. So go that extra mile in that process. I believe you have the zeal, the energy, the technical knowledge to do so. That is why I nominated you.
Speaking on behalf of his colleagues, Sergeant Aziz Kamara thanked the president for choosing them to serve in different ministries, underlining that they would be working hard to make Sierra Leone a middle-income country.
We're fully aware that you have put emphasis on human capital development, and I see here, I'm here for education, technical and higher. We have agriculture. Your commitment also to gender and children in this country speak to this appointment. We just want to fully give you our loyalty, sincerely, that we'll trust on and will deliver by God's help.
They are expected to start work immediately. SLBC TV News are in Freetown. How must be reporting?
Meanwhile, President Bio has commissioned the Mamasa Community Private Hospital in Kenyatta community in Bo. The hospital was constructed by the Member of Parliament Constituency 100 Pujahun District, Honorable Dixon Rogers, and his wife, Haja Fanta Rogers. The modern hospital will serve thousands of citizens residing in Bo District. Harmos was there and now reports again.
As with education and agriculture health, is also part of government flagship project. The reason why most government representatives are now working hard to provide such facilities in different communities. This is why some citizens are not only working in the area of education and agriculture, but some are also focusing on health as well. It was a huge turnout for the commissioning of the Kenyatta Hospital, as the people of this community were overwhelmed with joy to see their dream come true. President Bio was impressed to learn that the hospital was built in an undeserved location, noting that he was even pleased that the initiative would make available advanced diagnostic and lab services with highly trained medical personnel and more hospital beds in the community. There is an opportunity to manage everyday disease burdens, child deliveries, maternal care, and to scope escalated cases to referral hospitals with clear lab tests and diagnostic, according to President Bio, who added that his government was committed to partnering with and support such initiatives.
Thank you, Honorable Mrs. Rogers. Thank you, Mrs. Rogers, Fanta Rogers. Now this 9 that's so country to go before. Not the government they do all. They're not possible. When you go around the world, government they do your own. Individuals then, they do their own. We get private hospitals, we get government hospitals. Of course, government they help. Like this one so. We see the Minister of Health and Sanitation there. Now because they don't recognize them already, any support they need, we give that support there. So for women in this community, this is a big blessing. And I'm happy for you from the Honorable say, we have done the support the activity there. We they can't clear every day. Now salon I know begin change so.
President Julius Maada recalled that after 2018, his government inherited poor healthcare infrastructure, poor diagnostic and laboratory services, and lower healthcare financing, stating that poor healthcare delivery service were among a host of problems with the sector.
What's important about good health, like what's important here in Web London and so. All this one will pass and do. If you not get well, body, you don't do nothing. You're not going to be able to do that. Even the kids that were not well, you're not going to be able to teach. We're not well, you're not going to be able to teach. So human being, with a one small piece from where they are, you don't sick. So well body business, for the all man business, and for be an important part of the business. Now that make we don't come out today. For say thank you for this very good example, Honorable Dixie.
Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Sinabi, said it was a special day for the people of Kenyatta community in Bo and the country at large. He added that development should not only be left in the hands of government and called on every citizen to demonstrate the moral responsibility to be a part of the nation's development. Dr. Dembi described the venture by Honorable Dixon Rogers as a show of goodwill and patriotism and therefore encouraged all well-meaning Sierra Leoneans to engage in such ventures.
It's not only something for Kenyatta, it's not only something for Bo, it's not something for the whole country. I don't care yesterday, Okawaka small people go inside the main hospital, the way we organize them. You know, see all the women will be struggle for born picking we people that they worry that they say something operate. It found home for them. You get maternity center, so we go. I shall say we get safe medical delivery in our hospital.
Speaking on behalf of doctors and nurses in the hospital, Dr. Elizabeth Puja disclosed that only people with big dreams and aspirations to help humanity will construct a health facility of this nature to serve community people. On behalf of the doctors, nurses, and all healthcare workers of the Mamasa Community Private Hospital, she assured the people of Bo City that they will work harder and use their expertise to save lives and improve the health system in the country. Honorable Dixon Rogers, who is Chief Executive Officer of the Mamasa Community Private Hospital, said that the urge to help humanity at a community level led them to construct the hospital facility and would not only improve the health system of the community but also the entire township of Bo. He said he was inspired to construct a health facility after the second state opening of Parliament in 2019, where President Julius Maada urged citizens and private organizations to engage and invest in the health system of the country.
When you turn here, this maternity, like we do in SLBC, I want to make sure it's not a province, it's really in general. Let them not die again because they weren't born, they're not very facilities. Mr. President, we need to begin by that year. If that by year go through, this will be the first hospital that will be over 10 dialysis machines. All the machines are functional.
Minister of Energy Alhaji Kanja Sise, who is the brother-in-law of Honorable Dixon Rogers, commended the couple for their hard work, as this has been the dream of their late mother. The Mamasa Private Community Hospital, before its official opening to the public, started its functions with an obstetric unit providing services to pregnant women, and the first baby that was delivered in the hospital was Mohammed Ba. The hospital is named after the wife's late mother, Mamasa. SLBC TV News Eye in Freetown, Hawa Mosue reporting.
Following the Fulbright College Student Union election, which was held at the amphitheater, there was much controversy among students during the electoral process, which caused the college administration to forestall the pronouncement of the new student union president until further notice. Anata Fofana reports.
In the early hours of Wednesday, a day set aside by the National Election Commission for the Student Union elections, upon arriving at Frabe College campus, it is evident that the campus was
Education is currently holding a 5-day initial training of trainers at pre-primary level at Bluefields Hotel. The training will conclude on the 4th of June 2021. Our reporter Julian Korma takes a look at the coaching session and our report.
To further qualify the free and quality education, the Ministry of Basic and Senior Education is having an international consultant on pre-primary monitoring and coaching training on several categories of teachers.
It's called the Quality Assurance Officers and Coaching Training, and it's training for the quality assurance officers and coaches for the early childhood development across Sierra Leone. It builds on the early learning, play-based early learning and community-based early learning programming, and strengthens the ability of the quality assurance officers to act as coaches to support and mentor educators when they're in the field in order to increase their professional capacity.
The training seminars will expatiate the knowledge of the trainers. The Chief Education Officer at the Ministry of Basic and Senior Education, Kenyatta.
Today was the day that we were able to come, and I want to say thank you very much for making the time to be here, for being interested enough in our little ones, because as we all know, that is where the foundation starts, and that is where we are most lacking in this country. So I am glad we are making some inroads into early childhood education, and I'm encouraged to see that there are both men and women here.
After the seminars are completed, these trainees are expected to cascade the knowledge learned to teachers all over the country. SLBC News Hour, Julian Korma.
To intensify the fight against graft in the country, Sierra Leone and the Ghana AntiCorruption Commission with funds from OSIWA will be rolling out a 14-month project in uniting constituencies to fight corruption in the health and education sectors. At the project inspection meeting held at the Sludge Hall, Program Officer Sierra Leone Majalo says the project will complement government's efforts in monitoring procurement processes within these targeted sectors in order to ensure compliance. Ibn Samuel reports.
Unlike previous campaigns in the fight against corruption in the country, this project uniting constituencies to fight corruption in the health and education sectors will be working closely with officials in the health and education sectors, CSOs and the ACC to collect data on gaps and inefficiencies in procurement and service delivery in these sectors and undertake remedial measures. Funded by OSIWA, the project will be implemented in Ghana, Benin and Sierra Leone, and raising on health and education are the most crucial aspects in human capital development.
In most countries, governments spend almost 78% of their revenue on procurement. So when you talk about leakages from the government's purse, some of it happens with procurement. So we felt out a strategic area to tackle the issue have to with corruption and inefficiency, misoperation. You must start doing that from procurement. So that's what informed picking procurement. That's the most critical sector of our government spends. And so we pick that as a focus area.
In Sierra Leone, according to Send Program Officer Marema Jalo and Project Officer Wuri Kabu, their focus will be in the western area, western rural and Kenema districts, and will be collecting data in the health and education and monitor procurement processes within these sectors. OSIWA Mano River Hub Manager Joe Pemabil Jr. said they are using different approaches to address cross-cutting issues around governance, human rights, service delivery by supporting state and non-state actors.
We've been looking at health and education issues for a while. As a foundation again, they are key for us because it's only by ensuring that our procurement processes are transparent and inclusive, that we can support both health and education in our countries. Those are the bedrocks of national development. So let's pay attention to it and let's work together.
Representative from the Ministries of Education, Health and NPPA, while appreciating the timeliness of the project, said Ministries of Education and Health are among the key ministries that do undertake large procurement activities and would help to bring sanity in the sectors. The $33,000 project will last for 14 months. Ibrahim Samara, Freetown.
Suppliers in Bambali, Koinadugu and Falaba district have applauded the Sierra Leone Life Suppliers Organization for forming an organization that will be seeking the welfare of livestock rearers. They made this recommendation in a well-attended familiarization meeting held in Masufinia town, Falaba district. Mama Suma went along and now report.
It was a well-attended meeting here in Masofia town with livestock rearers coming from Bo, Kenema, Kono, Bombali, Koinadugu and Falaba districts. Though life has been difficult for them rearing their livestock, they say, it appears as if they will finally live, work and do their businesses in peace through the newly formed organization.
I will tell God thank you then people here because not the first time this will form organization in this country.
We thank God for this organization. For the past years, we have seen many people forming organizations in our name, but in the end, collect money from us and disappear. These people, we trust them because they have traveled far just to listen to our problems. So all we ask for is peace among the cattle rearers and crop farmers.
Would they beg people enforce? If anything happen, make them come to the section chief, then send the town chief, then settle them.
The meeting I say no problem. What in them talk so if it be so, no problem.
We really appreciate this meeting and all what they have said to us. If they really go by it, we will be very much happy as we want peace. Cattle rearing and farming is all what we know as villagers, so it will be very much important if the organization can help us live in peace and harmony.
Them born, no get no side for go. So we need peace now.
For decades now, livestock rearers and crop farmers have been at loggerheads with each other over land disputes, resettlement, the destruction of farms and the killing of livestock, especially cattle. Many livestock rearers believe that thieves are killing their animals and casting the blame on the farmers.
We don't get gold now, we don't get diamond now. What do we get now? Two things. Farm and cow.
We don't have gold, non-diamond. We have livestock and farms. So if you really want to end this problem between livestock rearers and crop farmers, provide us with a wire mesh that we will use right around our ranches to protect both cattle and crops.
What in there about that plaba? Between farmer and cattle men, like the happy number one for barbed wire.
However, the chairman for the Sierra Leone Livestock Rearers Organization, Chernobari, called on all rearers in the country to register their ranches so that the organization will use the data to present their case to Parliament to enact bylaws that will prevent animals from getting hurt or killed.
Let us all come out and register our ranches. This is our job, and through this, many of us have been able to educate our children and take care of our families. So it is high time we show Sierra Leone and the world that we are not ashamed of what we are doing for a living, which is part of our culture.
Now come on and do. Now some people say, don't shame what you do. This is not culture. You okay?
Secretary General of the Sierra Leone Livestock Rearers Organization, Mohamed Chalo, explained that the organization was formed not only to seek the welfare of the livestock rearers, but the farmers as well. He called on both farmers and the cattle rearers to work together and ensure that they report to authorities whenever they have complaints instead of taking the laws into their hands. Take a look at this scene. It might be seen as an old-fashioned way of farming in the presence of tractors. But not all farmers have the opportunity to have a tractor in their farmland. But a cattle can be easily used to help the situation. For SLBC News, Maria Masuma reporting.
In Sierra Leone, low-income bracket families that live below the poverty line often most choose public schools for their children. Public schools in the rural areas, however, have difficulties to access equal opportunities to education. The Peninsula Descendants Association has been outlining these issues to our reporter Jonathan Turner during an inspection tour to various schools in the Peninsula area.
These schools in the Peninsula area are in bad shape. Most of them do not have sitting accommodation, access to water and decent sanitation facility. Security and fencing problem are the major challenges they are faced, making the learning environment unfriendly. However, during the tour to various schools in the Peninsula area, the team clearly depicted the lack of unqualified teachers, facilities and resources.
This is the Peninsula Descendants Association, in which I am fortunate to be the supreme chief of the organization, and we are trying to change structures within the Peninsula. And this is going to be number one, because I think charity begins at home. So I have to see that this school well structured before we look for another problem.
Education is a very important factor for developing a country, and to help change the narrative, teachers in the Peninsula call for more development in the educational sector in order to make improvement in rural education.
The challenges. Okay. One is infrastructure. I need building, because if you can see, if you go around the classes, you can see one classroom. I made a division in 8 teachers, 8 unpayable, 7 I am responsible for the subsidies.
Just want them to help us in terms of the sitting accommodation, because actually, like the area of book supply, we are having some books are coming actually, like UNICEF, the governments, they are really doing their best.
The education system must undergo a prolonged process of recovery that will present challenges. The Peninsula Descendants Association members have vowed to help governments in the strives to develop the education sector. For SLBC News, Jonathan Turner reporting.
SLAFA President Aisha Johansson has withdrawn her candidacy to contest for the SLAFA presidency. In an official press release, she noted that as an elected FIFA Council member, she will be required to play a higher level and more active role as a global ambassador for football and for FIFA. The release further states that she will be working closely with FIFA in diverse areas including football, as she is forced to bring peace, promote women's football, and continue to act as an ambassador for Africa and Sierra Leone. Well, still to come on News R, Deputy Superintendent of Police informs the press about a civilian who impersonated a police sergeant, coupled with updates on recent murder case in Freetown. The Ministry of Planning and Economic Development holds a press conference on the ministry's preparedness for the 2021 budgetary review report on the Sustainable Development Goals. And the Directorate of Science, Technology and Innovation has commenced 2-week training for civil servants. Back, you're watching News Hour with me, Sonia Jafar. As we continue, the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development has held a press conference to update the media on the ministry's preparedness for the 2021 voluntary review report on the Sustainable Development Goals. Julian Korma reports.
The 17 Sustainable Development Goals were introduced by the United Nations to transform the world. Each year, a voluntary report is solicited from willing countries. The Ministry of Planning and Economic Development is all set to present the National Review Report.
The SDGs in the context of what we refer to as the 2030 agenda, that's the plan. The SDGs are the goals defining the specific targets with indicators and annual targets, of course, that countries will be aspiring to achieve, over time. So it's just a plan at that level, because you must have a framework, you must have a direction. As we have a plan at the national level, or a plan at the district level, And for our own plan, which is the Billion National Review Plan, we have our eight clusters.
Emmanuel Touré, the Acting Director of Information at the Ministry of Information, expressed the need for the media to cascade information about the Sustainable Development Goals.
Our responsibility as media practitioners thereof, from Goal 1 on to 17, you see that we have the responsibility to educate our people on this. For instance, there were issues quite recently we're talking about black junction. How does that affect the SJG? How does that relate to our medium-term development goal? I mean, we are like reverend pastors for our people. Look at it, interpret the words properly, and bring it down to their level so that they can understand.
SLBC News Hour, Julian Kuruma.
Following the Forbay College Student Union election, which was held at the amphitheater, there was much controversy among students during the election year process, which caused the college administration to forestall the pronouncement of the new student union president until further notice. Marta Fofana was there in our report.
It could be recalled that in the early hours of Wednesday, the day set aside by the National Election Commission for the Forbay College Students' Union election, the process started peacefully as students converged with singing and dancing while waiting to presumably cast their votes. Suddenly, the peaceful singing by the students turned into a commotion among themselves, and the police officers were cut in the middle. According to some students, some of their colleagues who were not registered or otherwise ineligible wanted to take part in the electioneering process, and that is not appropriate for the election. As a result, the Vice-Chancellor of Forbay College, Professor Lawrence Kamara, noted that despite the engagement with the aspirants before the election to sustain peace in the university, yet student supporters decided to damage the university's property.
On the elections, advising them with respect to their comportment, even with all the commitments they made, that they will have control over their supporters, and they will have themselves well behaved. But what happens here now, as you see, is quite the contrary. And I hold the aspirants responsible for that, because they are supposed to be responsible aspirants. I don't even want to cite the damages that have been caused prior to today, the build-up to the elections. Stoning of property.
Therefore, the college administration is insisting that the aspirants whose supporters created the commotion should take responsibility for all damaged property before a pronouncement of results. The Vice-Chancellor noted that the administration will hold a management meeting on 3rd June for a final decision. Adamasila, one of the aspirants, noted that the situation was unfortunate and they were not expecting such from the college administration, as she has worked hard for this day.
We have worked so hard on this. We have worked really, really hard, and exams have been extended. The time for exams have been extended. I don't think elections must be a do or die affair. Like I keep saying, our primary motive and our primary focus of being here is to acquire education. This is just a way of seeing how, as students, we can be able to exhibit our leadership skills as we intend to build our university, not to kill ourselves over elections.
But she would abide by their decision and admonished her supporters to do same. Fatmata Binta Jallo added that the stolen box from an unknown student was due to negligence and she would not accept the results because the process is unfair as the box was tampered with.
We are not going to allow any result that is taken based on what just happened today, because firstly the ballot boxes, they were tampered with, and you all can clearly see one of those boxes, they are opened. So what are the necessary measures that those boxes will not be tampered? We don't even know where they are taking those boxes. So we are raising a concern that we will not allow this result of this election.
With over 3,000 students at Frabe College, only 1,500 students had valid credentials and took part in the electioneering process. At present, the boxes have been taken to the Office of National Security until a decision is made after the outcome of a subsequent administration indoor meeting. SLBC News, Kenyatta Fufana.
Executive of political parties, especially the country's traditional APC and SLPP, are racing against the clock to emphasize new leadership bodies. This first of two-part report by Patrick Salia tells us what stage is the APC in their internal democratic processes.
In April 2018, Sierra Leoneans commanded through the ballot box for the sun to set and the palm tree to flourish. Since the elections more than 3 years ago, the APC have had only one national gathering. That was in January 2019, where preparations were far in advanced stages for the party to choose their flag bearer and national officers.
In fact, it was in October last year that we would have conducted the National Delegates Conference. In accordance with the provisions of our Constitution, it is the National Delegates Conference, a very important conference, that would elect the presidential candidate for the party as well as national officers. But precedent to that National Delegates Conference, you have conventions at the lower levels.
But the COVID pandemic, with its accompanying public restrictions and some legal disturbances, disrupted their plans. It was the party's internal revolutionary group, National Reformation Movement NRM, that filed in for that court injunction. Spokesman for the NRM, Alfred Minkalu Kuroma, told the SLBC that their crusade was born out of the APC's failure to secure the majority of valid ballots in the 2018 presidential elections due to some undemocratic principles and practices of the party.
Our constitution actually do have some obnoxious clauses like the selection clause, the anti-party activity clause, the no term limit clause. We advocated the 9-man committee was created later, the CRC, but we did not succeed in getting the leadership to understand to do what is right in ensuring democracy prevail in the party. We did advocate relentlessly, the party did not understand. The party actually did take a step to adopt a certain constitution in January 2019. We went to PBRC, we could not get the party to understand that we have to sit on the drawing board to correct the abnormalities. We went to court, we sought redress, the party called on us on a round table, we discussed. We finally did arrive at an MOU.
That memorandum of understanding between the party's leadership and the Young Crusaders resulted to a discontinuation of the matter in court to continue the review of their 1995 constitution. But just as the group was about to celebrate with other party members the much anticipated in-house victory for democracy, a new injunction was lodged into the court by another APC member, Alfred Conte. That continues to drag on till date, even though the petitioner was recently said to have unreservedly apologized in court for insulting the legal retainers of the party.
We are completely disappointed. We see it as a total betrayal. He was a member of the NRM. The reforms we are seeking as NRM, we've achieved them. In fact, I can say 100% of them. We said we did not want consultation, we did not want selection, we did not want no term limit, we did not want anti-party activity clause. All of that have been addressed. In fact, the party bent down backwards to actually give us more than what we asked for. They created the TIEMC, which is the Transition Interim Electoral Management Committee. NRM is having 15 members in that committee and the party is having 10. These are the members that will conduct lower level elections from ward, constituency, district, region, and national officers of the party, even that of the standard bearer, which we call the flag bearer. It is the body that is charged with responsibility to do all of that, and the leadership is ready to listen. We agree that their tenure in office expired sometime in October last year. They extended their mandate for 3 years, but that is a constitutional provision. In a state of emergency where a national delegates conference cannot be convened, the constitution gave them the mandate to extend their term. But if you say you want us to continue to be in court, how can we hold a convention to actually see them out of office if they are not performing?
The APC, however, now hopes the political party's regulatory institution, PPRC, could intervene for a resolve to the current stalemate on their major activities.
If they wanted the PPRC to come in and resolve their issue, they had the option to have come to us and ask us to, but they chose not to. And now they are in court. We are a statutory body. We are also subject to the law. So we will not want to be seen to be interfering with an issue that is before a court of law. So we are, as a party to that action, we are all waiting to see how it will end. But as far as the ratification of their constitution is concerned, they definitely will not need any intervention as it is at the moment, because the court that granted the injunction has buried that injunction, allowing them to go to convention for the purpose of ratifying their constitution, except that a certain number of delegates that should not partake in that convention.
And the standoff continues until African decides otherwise, and no other such litigation brought before the court. Patrick Salia, SLBC News, Freetown.
In a bid to improve on communication skills among MDAs and to store documents safely, the Directorate of Science, Technology and Innovation has commenced 2-week training for civil servants. The exercise was to enlighten workers on how to ease workload through the use of improved technology. The session was held at the Africell American Corner, Battle Street, Freetown. Mutafafana report.
Before the introduction of technology, people used rigid ways of communication and stored documents in cupboards. Gradually, Sierra Leone, like other developing countries, catch up with moving trend of technology, and civil servants no longer use office assistants to deliver letters and other forms of storing data, but would rather send them via email. And for a continuation in making work easier with the use of such sophisticated apps, civil servants must keep upgrading to the latest version of technology. This was what prompted the Directorate of Science, Technology and Innovation to train some members of the civil service on the advanced science technology. According to the Chief Innovation Officer of the Directorate of Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. David Senge. He continued that the session also coincided with the government scheme to deliver on its national development plan as science technology has helped other nations, and this, he went on, can be achieved through the effective use of the latest technology from all MDAs, as it would provide a free flow of information, eliminate slow work and secure documents, which will enhance transparency and accountability.
What will be really wonderful for me to see as CIO is how the fundamental attributes, the fundamental capacities, capabilities, functions, applications that you build are modular, such that the people who are building a lab information system are using a database architecture that is similar to what TSC is going to use.
He admonished participants to be attentive during the session. The facilitator from DSDI, Kate Krontiris, noted that the session is focusing on effective methodologies which must be later implemented by the participants after their 2-week session to solve office challenges in a new way. She continued that design research as part of the session can aid policymakers to better understand the root causes of emerging issues and be able to address fundamental needs of the public.
These are teams from within the ministries. They have champions at highest levels to solve some of the most challenging issues within governance, whether it's revenue collection or, in the case of education, managing teachers. So that benefits the ministries by having an opportunity to kind of come out of their daily lives, learn some different tools and techniques, work on a project together over time, and ideally, once they come back to their ministries, be able to make more progress on those projects.
The participants expressed challenges to face when there is an urgency request on documents from a ministry or agency, but noted that the training would be of great importance to cushion such worries.
Because when you think about innovation, it's a creative activities. And creative activities
Now, for our institution as a whole, we are planning to digitalize our land registry. Through the innovation of this program, we'll be able to create a database wherein our land documents will be digitalized to create an easy access to documents.
The government is trying to push innovation amongst MPs, and my institution for the NRA is heavily engaged in integrating of our systems, and so we think that this is a good platform to empower us to carry out our work that we're doing.
The session, which has commenced today, will last for 2 weeks. SLBC News, Aminata Fofana.
It's now time for latest news around Africa. Algerians are set to boycott the June 12 legislative election as voters struggle to find their People's National Assembly representative in the middle of a political, social and economic crisis. In the capital city, Algiers, where 34 seats will have to be filled, the majority of information panels remain empty. The election was supposed to be held in 2022 but were brought forward by Algerian officials. Many see that moves as a way for governments who heavily rely on the military to regain control, as the Iraq movement has made its returns to the streets and enter its second year of protest. Burundi is reopening its Gatumba border with the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, from the town of Uvira following a long period of closure due to COVID-19 pandemic. The Minister of Public Health, Tade Indi Kuma, explained that he's moved by the great influx of people at this border compared to other borders, and that any case that comes in is screened, so there is no risk. But in relation to the quarantine at Bujumbura International Airport, we have issued recommendations that have been submitted to the high authority. We await their response, he says. According to local media, all foreigners entering Burundi through the Gatumba borders will have to pay $30 for the COVID-19 test, while Congolese living in Burundi will be allowed to return to DRC through this border free of charge. Mali's transitional president, Kol Assimi Goïta, has named Chugwel Kokagla as the country's new civilian prime minister. Mr. Maiga is the leader of the M5 RFP movement, the group which led anti-government protests last year over rising insecurity, alleged corruption, and a failing economy. The discontent results in the army overthrowing Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, and a civilian-led transitional government was set up, but its prime minister and president were out last month by Goïta. He was vice president at the time and accused them of violating the transitional agreement after a cabinet reshuffle which saw 2 senior army officers replaced. The African Union and the West African Bloc have both suspended Mali, calling for a return to civilian rule and elections to be held as planned next February. Well, that's all for news making headlines in Africa. Let's now go to our entertainment news.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment News with me, Cynthia Kamara. A member of the Sierra Leone Police Force, Aliyu Sanko, stage name Lima, has joined the few Sierra Leone musicians as he has released a new single with the title Respect and Police. For more on the song, let's join Aminata Fofana.
Music, they say, is good for the soul, and many Sierra Leoneans, notably youth, cultivating their own style and genres, and most have been digging into the beats to reap out the profits to make a living, while others just for the sheer love and passion they possess. But things took a different tone when a member of the Sierra Leone Police Force, Aliyu Sano, popularly known as Liman, surprised the public with his hit single titled Respect Police, which is now streaming on social media platforms.
Respect police. Respect, my sister, respect police.
says he is urging citizens to acknowledge the work of the police force in protecting lives and properties.
The song Respect Police, I was inspired because the activities of the people within the country, there is no respect for the police. They are failing to realize that the police are meant there to protect their rights, and the police are there for them. So that inspired me. Because of there is no respect, that inspired me for me to sing such song, for them to realize that the police are there for them and the police are to be respected. Same with situations. So because of the situation at hand, where there is no respect for the police, came such song. I believe I will continue doing such song for the people.
What does the members of the Sierra Leone Police Force think about the song?
I've listened to it, and of course it's one of the songs that the management of the Sierra Leone Police really love.
The song Respect Police is a time they won, and it tells us about our duties as police officers.
The song is a nice one, and these are the kind of messages we want to take to the general populace, because over the period the police have been seen in a bad lens. I want to make them realize that the police is a force for good now, and we are working in the best interest of them.
Excitement from the police officers. But does the message of this song cut the attention of the general public? Let's hear from them.
The music, what they sing,
the song is in place. It is the duty of the police to secure lives and property, and citizens must respect them, especially bike riders. They must deviate from attacking the police.
The music,
I have listened to the song. It is nice if the police work in line with the words of the songs. They are supposed to protect lives and property, and as citizens we should respect them, just like the words in the song.
If they encourage method for say, let us join together for peace and country. I think that is well.
Yes, I don't hear you song. I don't respect police. But police, you don't respect police. You don't respect but policeman, you don't respect with the civilian.
I have listened to the song, even when we should respect them, but I think the police should also respect citizens. They should deviate from receiving bribes and stay away from corruption. I am not moved by the song at all.
You know they like corruption.
In some areas they do have this, they do compromise and take bribes with people. So I don't like them in that area.
Respect, my brother, respect police. Hey. Blessed are those who are there to make the peace. Una make remember that passive war. Nobody no one go there. Yeah. You know say be start with them small palava. Where we see so now. Me where they protect you, you turn back by me. Or letting ya so you don't find una make una forgive police respect. Cause where they attack you, na police back you go God no.
Well, that was a police officer Aliu Sanko, stage name Liman, with the song titled Respect Salute Police. Okay. We'll continue to respect some police. Well, that's all in this edition of Entertainment News. I am Cynthia Gaman. Goodbye.
It's now time for sports news.
The process of electing a new president for the SLFA has never been rosy. Now, incumbent Aisha Johansson withdraws from the SLFA presidential race. Here's the report.
In an official press release from Madam Aisha Johansson, she noted that as an elected FIFA Council member, she will be required to play a higher level and more active role as a global ambassador for football. The release further stated that she will be working closely with FIFA in diverse areas, including the use of football as a force to unify and bring peace, promoting women's football, among others. Johansson has been at the helm of football since 2013, following the disqualification of other candidates at that time. According to the release, Madam Aisha Johansson prides herself in the promotion of the game, even when her critics were holding contrary views all throughout her tenure. Meanwhile, the elective Congress slated for 4th and 5th June in Makeni, with Thomas Dadi Brahma, Rodney Michael and Kofidin Nyako still in the race.
Now in another development, the Sierra Leone athletics team in Nigeria are doing so well in terms of claiming major honors in the ECOWAS Championship Games. SLBC Sport Desk takes up the story. The Confederation of African Athletics in Kaduna State is well and truly on course for various ECOWAS countries. It could be recalled that the World Athletics Governing Body in November last year recognized Kaduna Marathon as an event on its sporting calendar. The athletics team from Sierra Leone are currently in Nigeria, Kaduna State, competing in the ECOWAS Regional Championship, and despite Sierra Leone's lateness in arriving for the games, they've been able to secure some major honors in the competition so far. Sierra Leone national athletics senior and junior teams are in Nigeria participating in the 2021 ECOWAS Regional Championship. As it stands now, Sierra Leone has secured 8 medals in this year's Confederation of African Athletics Regional Second Championship in Kaduna. Jane Kagbo won 2 gold medals and a silver medal in the women's 1,500 meters and 5,000 meters. Abubakar Conte won silver in the men's 5,000, while the team relay for the mixed race grabbed by Sierra Leone. This championship will give these Sierra Leonean athletes the chance to achieve qualifying standards for Olympic Games, among other athletics competitions. For Team Sierra Leone, they remain hopeful to create more upset and win more laurels. For SLBC Sport, Abdul Kabir. Sports updates on News Hour ends here. I am Abdul Kabir. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Sport update. Well, to end the news, the main point again. 3 deputy ministers have taken oath to the office at State House. Students at Frobe College are voting in a new executive. And Sierra Leone Association of Journalists SLAJ is to hold its annual general meeting in Bow. Well, that's all in News Hour with me, Sonia Jafar. Have a lovely evening, stay blessed and be safe. Goodbye.